CRO coin has been one of the best performing altcoins in the market, clocking in a 78.5% gain over the past month, an 18% gain over the past week, and about a 2% gain on the day. Now, in today's episode of the Everything Crypto Show, I want to break down why I believe CRO has been such a strong performer recently and why I believe this outperformance will continue for the duration of this bull cycle. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. But before we do that, just a friendly reminder that I am not a financial advisor. I am simply here for your crypto news and entertainment purposes. And if you do enjoy the regular crypto content, please consider hitting that sub and like button. And it really does go a long way in supporting the channel, showing me that you guys enjoy the content, and I love and appreciate you all. Additionally, if you do want to add some CRO to your crypto wallet, feel free to sign up for crypto.com using the link in the description down below and get yourself some free crypto rewards for doing so. So we're going to get right into it now. As mentioned at the beginning of the video, CRO has been an incredibly strong performer recently, despite being a laggard for a majority of this cycle. In fact, if we go over to the CoinMarketCap rankings and then actually rank it in terms of price performance, if we take a look over the past month, CRO comes in 8th place here with that 78% gain. Over the past week, CRO is the second best performer with a 17.5% gain. And even over the past 24 hours, CRO is actually the 5th best performing altcoin with this 1.5% move. So I think it's important to kind of recognize this right off the bat because a lot of focus lately has been on Ethereum. And rightfully so. Ether has been really making some moves. We have spoken about Ethereum in our past couple of videos because I do think this altcoin is ready to break out as well. But there's been a lot of focus on Ethereum, while in the background, CRO has actually been outperforming, Ether, Bitcoin, BNB, and a lot of these other major altcoins out there. So why is this the case? Well, I think there's two reasons for that. I think the first reason is news-based, and I think the second reason is really based on technicals. So we're going to start off with the news, and then I do want to spend majority of the video taking a look at the charts here and just talking about what I am expecting next from this altcoin in terms of the price, because I do think that this rally is just getting started. So in terms of the news, we did cover, a couple of months back that Crypto.com is partnering with Trump Media to basically power their different crypto ETFs, offering the back-end technology, custody of the assets that are basically being held through these ETFs. And in this announcement, they did basically tease first of its kind ETF basket of cryptocurrencies, incorporating CRO and other crypto assets. So we basically got a hint right here that CRO was going to be included in ETFs that were being offered by Trump Media. And then earlier this month, we actually got confirmation of what this would look like when Trump Media filed with the SEC for their Truth Social Crypto Blue Chip ETF. So pending approval, the fund is expected to hold 70% Bitcoin, 15% ETH, 8% SOL, 2% XRP, and you can see right there, 5% CRO. So to basically see here a blue chip ETF basket that has, 4 coins from the top 5 by market cap, and then CRO here, which is a top 30 by market cap. I think this has really helped to put a lot of attention on this altcoin as pretty much the only altcoin out of the top 5 being included in this basket, and with a 5% weighting as well, right? So over double the weighting that XRP actually has in this ETF. So why is this the case? Is, the president of the United States just so bullish on CRO that he had to include this? Truth be told, I don't think that's the case at all. I think this is really just business more than anything. Crypto.com basically agreed to be the exclusive partner of Trump Media, supplying the back-end technology and the custody of these assets. And I would imagine that in exchange, Chris basically said, we'll do this for you, but I want you to include CRO in this blue chip basket, with, let's say, like a minimum 5% weighting. So I do think this is business more than anything. I don't think that CRO has, caught the attention of the president of the United States. However, this is a very powerful business move, in my opinion. We see Crypto.com leveraging their exchange business to basically get CRO put in these different crypto products. Right? This means that, for every 1 billion that flows into this crypto blue chip ETF, 50 million of that will be going to CRO itself, right? So pretty cool stuff to kind of see Crypto.com, again, just leveraging their name brand to actually help CRO in terms of its price appreciation. And yeah, we can see here, right, like this weekly candle, let's actually go to the daily chart. So that announcement came out on July 8th, and what do you know, right here, we saw that big gap up from 8 cents to about 10 cents, and since then, CRO has just been climbing steady from that level. So that's really why I think this altcoin has been rallying based on the news, but I also do think there is something a lot more interesting going on here from a technical perspective. So I want to point your attention back to the weekly chart. I want to take a look at Bitcoin because, we've been speaking a lot about the importance of the 50-week moving average when it comes to Bitcoin, okay? I think the 50-week moving average has pretty much been the single best indicator this entire bull cycle, actually, for just what has ended up being really strong buying opportunities for Bitcoin and select altcoins. You can see right here that pretty much every single time Bitcoin came close to or bounced off of the 50-week moving average, it did make for a great buying opportunity, led it to some great returns. We saw it bounce or cross above the 50-week moving average here in March of 2023. Came back down to test it as support in August, and then after coming back down close to test it, Bitcoin rallied about 188% from there. We then saw it come back to the 50-week in August of 2024. From there, rallied about 114%, and then most recently, I came back down here in April with the tariff fear, and so far it's rallied 58% from that 50-week. So I do think it's just been a really good indicator for Bitcoin and the altcoin market this cycle. And then if we take a look at CRO, what do you know? This cross above the 50-week moving average also coincided with a break above a very important area for its price at the 10-cent level, okay? So I think that from a technical perspective, seeing a strong breakout above 10 cents as well as a breakout above the 50-week has led to just a really strong rally from this altcoin overall. And, if we take a look here, just removing the 50-week from the chart and just taking a look at the candles and this 10-cent zone, I mean, we've spoken about this on the channel before, just how important this 10-cent level is for CRO. It acted as support over here in 2021. And then we saw, Crypto.com get the naming rights to the Staples Arena, and boom, CRO went on an 850% rally from there up to 96 cents. Despite basically just shuffling sideways for a majority of that bull cycle. And it kind of seems like a very similar setup could be in play for CRO right now. We also saw 10 cents acting as support over here in the bear market year. Then we saw the collapse of FTX, a lot of FUD towards crypto exchanges, and crypto exchanges native altcoins took a hit, CRO definitely not being an exception. So we saw CRO break down below this 10-cent level, bottomed out about a year later at 5 cents. And then when CRO tried to rally, we saw a pretty classic example of a prior area of support now being flipped into a level of resistance right over here. So you can see 10 cents has just been really important for the price action of this altcoin. And then if we zoom in on basically since CRO bottomed out in late 2023, I mean, you can see 10 cents acting as resistance right over here, 10 cents acting as resistance over here, and then boom, finally breaking out above it. Now, interestingly enough, okay, every single time CRO has broken out above 10 cents, it has led to minimum 80% rallies this cycle. So the first rally above 10 cents was a 60% rally, give or take. Sorry, not a 60% rally. This is about an 80% rally up to 18 cents. The next one we saw was about a 130% rally up to 23 cents. And as of right now, if we measure CRO from the bottom right over here, the local bottom, it's about an 80% rally. But if we actually measure it from the break at 10 cents, so far this altcoin has rallied about 42%. So if history does repeat itself and if CRO does react similarly to how it has the previous times that it's broken over 10 cents, that would suggest there is a lot more steam left in this rally. Now, the last thing I do want to mention, something we have spoken about on the channel before, but I think it is more relevant now than ever, is the fact that, if you were around for the last cycle, CRO really did not do much at all for majority of it, okay? It shuffled sideways here for a lot of the cycle while these other altcoins were taking off. And then boom, right near the tail end of this cycle is when we saw CRO really start to rocket, okay? And I do believe we are entering the tail end of this cycle right now. I think there's, maybe three months left to 6 months left at most for this bull cycle. And if we take a look here at when CRO started to take off back in 2021, it was in, mid to late July, okay? We are now back in mid to late July once again, and CRO looks like it is starting to fuel up for another rally. So I would not be shocked at all, and I've been saying on the channel, don't be shocked if a lot of people are caught offside and if CRO just starts to absolutely rocket, basically when nobody is paying attention and nobody has been paying attention to this altcoin really for this entire cycle. So, just in terms of taking a look at the prior history as well as the current technical setup, I do think that things are looking really good for this altcoin overall. So on that note, I hope you all enjoyed the content in today's video. I hope you are all staying happy, safe, and healthy, and hope to catch you in the next one. Peace out for now.